Everyone loves to laugh at cheap cars. The faded paint, the weird proportions, the boring badge, the jokes from your friends when you pull up and they say, "Bro, you actually bought that?" But here's the funny part. Some of the most mocked cars on the used market are secretly better than the cars people actually brag about owning. Because while everyone is chasing overpriced sports cars, fake luxury badges, and beat-up enthusiast icons that have already been abused by 5 different owners, there are a few cheap cars sitting quietly in the background, being ignored by almost everyone. And some of them are absolute hidden gems. Today we're looking at 3 cheap cars that people laugh at, dismiss, or completely overlook. But once you understand what they really are, how they drive, how long they last, and why smart buyers keep hunting for them, the joke starts to flip. One of them looks like something your grandpa drove to the pharmacy, but it has rear-wheel drive, V8 durability, and police car DNA. One of them looks like a tiny economy box, but it might be one of the smartest, most practical, and most reliable cheap cars you can buy. A 2026 IC Cars analysis even ranked the Honda Fit as a top used car value for long remaining lifespan. And one of them gets mocked for being small, cute, and underpowered, but it delivers one of the purest driving experiences you can get without spending serious money. These are not cars you buy to impress people at a traffic light. These are cars you buy because you know something most people don't. And by the end of this video you might look at the used car market completely differently. Before we get into the first car, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who still thinks a good cheap car has to be boring. Because the first hidden gem is probably the most misunderstood cheap car in America. The Ford Crown Victoria. The Ford Crown Victoria is the kind of car people joke about instantly. Most people see one and think of old taxis, retired police cruisers, airport shuttle fleets, or somebody's elderly uncle driving 10 miles under the speed limit. And honestly, that reputation is exactly why this car became such a hidden gem. Because underneath that massive, outdated body is something that barely exists anymore in affordable cars. A body-on-frame, rear-wheel drive V8 sedan built like industrial equipment. The Crown Vic wasn't designed to impress automotive journalists. It wasn't designed to set Nürburgring lap times. Ford built this thing for one purpose: surviving abuse for hundreds of thousands of miles. There's a reason police departments across North America used them for decades. Think about what that means for a second. These cars spent years idling for hours, jumping curbs, getting slammed through traffic, surviving high-mileage punishment every single day, and they just kept going. That reputation didn't happen by accident. The legendary 4.6-liter modular V8 is one of the biggest reasons why. It's not some exotic high-performance engine. It's simple, understressed, durable, and surprisingly cheap to maintain. Parts are everywhere. Mechanics know them inside out. And because Ford produced so many Panther-platform cars, finding replacement components is ridiculously easy even today. But reliability isn't the only reason enthusiasts secretly love these things. The Crown Vic is hilariously comfortable. Modern economy cars might have better screens and fuel economy, but very few cheap cars ride like an old-school American sedan floating down the highway. The suspension is soft, the seats are massive, and the cabin feels like a rolling couch. Then there's the weird part nobody expects. They're actually fun. Rear-wheel drive changes the personality completely. Especially in police interceptor versions with upgraded cooling systems, tougher suspension setups, and shorter gearing. You can slide them. You can modify them. You can V8 swap them even further. Some people turn them into budget drift cars. Others build sleeper highway cruisers. And somehow, the Crown Vic community became one of the most entertaining corners of the car world. And because younger buyers ignored them for years, prices stayed surprisingly low. That's starting to change now. Clean Panther platform cars are slowly gaining appreciation because people are realizing something important. Manufacturers simply do not make cars like this anymore. Big naturally aspirated V8, rear-wheel drive, body-on-frame toughness, simple mechanical design, minimal electronic complexity. That formula is basically extinct. Now the Crown Vic absolutely has weaknesses. Fuel economy isn't great. The interior plastics are pure early 2000s Ford. Parking one in a tight city feels like docking a boat. And yes, some retired police cars were beaten within an inch of their lives, so buying the wrong example can become a nightmare fast. But if you find a clean civilian-owned car or a well-maintained Interceptor with service history, you're getting something incredibly rare in today's market. A cheap car with personality, a cheap car with durability, and a cheap car that secretly feels cooler the more you understand it, which makes the next hidden gem even crazier. Because unlike the Crown Vic, this next car doesn't have a V8 rear-wheel drive or muscle car energy at all. In fact, most people laugh at it because it looks tiny, slow, and almost cartoonish. But what they don't realize is that the Honda Fit might secretly be one of the smartest cheap cars ever made. Mid-video reminder. If you're enjoying this list, subscribe now because the third car on this countdown is probably the most misunderstood enthusiast car under budget prices today. The Honda Fit looks like the kind of car rental companies give you when nothing else is available. Nobody hangs posters of a Honda Fit on their bedroom wall. Nobody revs their engine next to one at a red light expecting a race. And yet, the more you live with one, the more confusing it becomes why these cars were never massively appreciated. Because the Honda Fit does something extremely rare. It over-delivers in almost every category at the same time. Cheap to buy, cheap to maintain, ridiculously reliable, easy on fuel, shockingly practical, and somehow, actually fun to drive. That last part is what surprises most people. On paper, the Fit sounds boring. Small 4-cylinder engine, front-wheel drive, economy car status. Nothing about the spec sheet screams excitement. But once you drive one, especially the second-generation G8 model, you start understanding why enthusiasts quietly love these things. They're light. And lightweight cars almost always feel more alive than heavy cars with bigger numbers on paper. The steering is direct. Visibility is excellent. The chassis feels playful. And because the car weighs so little, even normal driving speeds become entertaining. You can throw it into corners without feeling terrified. You can floor it everywhere without immediately breaking speed limits. And unlike many modern compact cars, the Fit feels honest. But the real magic of the Honda Fit is the packaging. This thing is basically a TARDIS on wheels. From the outside it looks tiny. Almost too tiny. Then you open the hatch and realize somehow Honda engineers broke the laws of physics. The rear seats fold completely flat with Honda's famous magic seat system, creating absurd cargo space for a car this size. People move furniture in these things. Bicycles fit inside. Camping setups fit inside. Entire road trips happen comfortably in a car most people underestimate instantly. That practicality turned the Fit into a cult favorite among people who actually understand cars. College students love them. City drivers love them. Delivery drivers love them. Car enthusiasts love them. Even track day drivers started using Fits because they're lightweight, predictable, and hilariously durable under abuse. And then there's reliability. Honda's reputation didn't come from nowhere. Properly maintained Fits regularly survive enormous mileage with minimal drama. The engines are simple, efficient, and known for taking punishment without constantly draining your wallet. That's becoming incredibly important right now, because modern cars are getting more complicated every year. More electronics. More expensive repairs. More systems that can fail. Meanwhile, the Fit keeps doing what it always did, starting every morning and asking for almost nothing in return. And since many buyers ignored them for being uncool, used prices stayed relatively reasonable compared to other reliable Hondas like the Civic Type R, Integra, or even clean older Civics. But here's the interesting part. The Honda Fit is slowly gaining respect in enthusiast circles. People are realizing that driving enjoyment is not always about horsepower. Sometimes it's about lightweight simplicity. Sometimes it's about visibility, balance, practicality, and confidence. And sometimes the best cheap car is the one that quietly does everything well while everyone else keeps chasing status symbols. Still, the next car on this list might be the biggest shock of all, because people mocked it for years. Some called it the worst Miata. Others said it looked too soft, too round, too feminine, or too weak compared to earlier generations. But today, a lot of enthusiasts are realizing they completely misunderstood the Mazda MX-5 Miata NC. Few cars in automotive history have been mocked as consistently as the Miata, and somehow the NC generation got hit even harder than the others. People called it the boat Miata. They complained that it was heavier than previous generations. They hated the softer styling. And for years, internet forums treated the NC like the awkward middle child nobody wanted. Which is exactly why it became one of the best hidden bargains in the entire sports car market. Because once you ignore the memes and actually drive one, you realize something immediately. The NC Miata is still a Miata. And that means it still delivers something most modern performance cars completely lost. Pure driving connection. No fake engine noise through speakers. No gigantic touchscreen distracting you. No massive weight. No complicated driving modes trying to imitate personality. Just you, a lightweight chassis, rear-wheel drive, a manual transmission, and a car that wants to communicate with you constantly. That's what made the Miata legendary in the first place. And the NC still delivers that feeling beautifully. In fact, many experienced drivers now argue the NC is one of the best value Miatas ever built because it fixed several weaknesses from earlier generations while remaining relatively affordable. The chassis became stiffer. The cabin became more usable. Safety improved. And the car became surprisingly durable when maintained correctly. Then there's the engine. The 2.0-liter MZR engine isn't some powerhouse, but that's missing the point completely. Miatas were never about raw horsepower. They're about momentum. Corner speed, balance, confidence. The feeling that the car shrinks around you when the road gets twisty. And because the NC still weighs far less than modern sports cars, it feels alive at speeds where newer performance cars barely wake up. That's becoming rare. Modern cars are unbelievably fast now. But many are also numb, heavy, and disconnected. The NC Miata reminds drivers that fun does not require 500 horsepower. Sometimes 160 horsepower and a perfect chassis are enough. And here's where things get really interesting. For years, buyers chased NA and NB Miatas because of nostalgia, pop-up headlights, and collector hype. Prices exploded. Meanwhile, the NC stayed relatively ignored. That created a weird situation where one of the best-driving cheap sports cars on the market became cheaper than slower, less reliable, and less enjoyable alternatives. And enthusiasts started noticing. Track day communities especially love these cars now because they're dependable, predictable, and cheap enough that owners don't feel terrified using them properly. The aftermarket is massive too. Suspension upgrades, exhaust systems, turbo kits, wheels, brakes. You can build an NC into almost anything you want. A canyon carver, a daily driver, a budget track weapon, or just a simple weekend car that makes every drive feel special. Of course, the NC isn't perfect. Some interiors age poorly. Rust can become a serious issue in certain climates. Automatic versions lose a lot of the magic. And if you expect straight-line speed, you'll probably be disappointed. But that misses the entire philosophy of the car. The Miata isn't trying to dominate drag races. It's trying to make driving feel fun again. And that's exactly why people who actually own them tend to become obsessed with them. The funny thing is all three cars on this list share the same secret. The Crown Victoria, the Honda Fit, the NC Miata. On the surface they look completely different. But all three were underestimated because people judged them for the wrong reasons. And that's exactly why smart buyers found value where everyone else saw jokes. So what's the real lesson here? Cheap cars become hidden gems the moment you stop buying for image and start buying for experience. Because the truth is, most people judge cars in the laziest possible way. They look at badges, horsepower numbers, social media hype, or whatever trend the internet is currently obsessed with. Meanwhile, some genuinely great cars stay ignored for years simply because they don't look impressive at first glance. And that creates opportunity. The Ford Crown Victoria became a hidden gem because it offers something modern cars barely have anymore. Old-school V8 durability, rear-wheel drive character, and mechanical simplicity at absurdly low prices. The Honda Fit became a hidden gem because it quietly mastered almost everything people actually need from a daily driver while still being surprisingly enjoyable to drive. And the NC Miata became a hidden gem because people spent too much time comparing it to older Miatas instead of appreciating how good it actually is on its own. Now, if we rank these purely by value for money, things get interesting. If you want maximum durability and comfort for almost no money, the Crown Vic is probably unbeatable. If you want the smartest all-around cheap car, the Honda Fit might honestly win the entire video. But if you care most about driving feel, engagement, and pure fun, the NC Miata is still one of the greatest budget enthusiast cars ever built. And here's the crazy part. All three of these cars prove the same thing. The best cheap cars are usually the ones nobody is paying attention to yet. That's how hidden gems work. By the time everyone agrees a car is cool, prices usually explode. We already saw it happen with older Japanese sports cars. We saw it happen with clean manual BMWs. We saw it happen with analog Porsches. And now people are slowly waking up to cars they ignored for years. Especially as modern vehicles become more expensive, heavier, more complicated, and harder to repair. Simple cars are starting to feel special again. Naturally aspirated engines feel special again. Hydraulic steering feels special again. Lightweight chassis feels special again. And affordable cars with real personality are becoming rare. That's why cars like these matter. Now, before you run out and buy one, there are a few important things to remember. Never buy based only on hype. Condition matters more than the badge. A neglected, reliable car can become a disaster instantly. Always check maintenance history. Inspect for rust. Look for accident damage. And if possible, get a pre-purchase inspection from a trusted mechanic. Because the difference between a hidden gem and a money pit is usually the previous owner. But if you find the right example, you can end up with something far more satisfying than people expect. Not because it impresses strangers, but because every time you drive it, you understand why the people laughing at it completely missed the point. And honestly, that's part of the fun. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and comment which cheap car you think deserves hidden gem status. And if this video does well, the next one might be 5 cheap sports cars that embarrass expensive cars, or the most underrated engines ever built. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.